Everybody, welcome back to our next Lunch and Learn. And seeing that this is Pride Month, in honor of this, I thought I'd do a Lunch and Learn at the Church Wellesley area known as the Gay Village. So the boundaries, it's between Yonge and Jarvis Street. The north boundary is Charles and Gerrard Street is on the south. So here's a bit of history, and there is actually tons. The Church Wellesley Village was once the estate of Alexander Wood. He was a merchant and magistrate in Upper Canada, and he was at the center of a supposedly sexually related scandal in 1810. His lands were known as Molly Wood's Bush, and in the early 19th century, Molly was a slang term for homosexual. In the spring of 2005, a statue of Wood, it was erected at the corner of Church and Alexander Street, and we're standing here right now. It was right on this spot. And it was honoring him as the forefather, or one of the forefathers, of Toronto's modern LGBTQ plus community. That statue was taken down in 2022 due to the sex scandal and the fact that Woods funded Indigenous schools. So the late 19th century, it saw the area transform into the city's chic neighborhood. If you drive on Jarvis Street, you'll notice it's extra wide. There are 5 lanes instead of 4. It's dotted with many large mansions, most of which are carved now into offices. The area, it was home to many prominent residents. George Gooderham from Gooderham and Warts down at the Distillery District. Oliver Mowat, he was a father of Confederation, and he owned the house that's now part of the National Ballet School. Hart Massey, he owned a house that's now the Keg Mansion, and we are standing right in front of it now. William Johnson, he owned what's now Casey House, and it was the first HIV/AIDS hospice in Canada. And you get the point. It's a very, very long list. So after the Depression in the 1920s, the area kind of hit the skids and it became run down. But in the 1950s, 1954 to be exact, Toronto's first high-rise apartments, it was called City Park. They were developed between Alexander and Wood Street, and we actually are standing on a little parkette in between 2 of the buildings. Church and the surrounding area, it has been familiar to the Toronto gay community for many decades. Prior to the 70s, there was an underground, mostly male gay scene centered around bathhouses and bars. They were not exclusively gay establishments, but they were known to be frequented by the LGBTQ plus community. So from the late 60s until the early 80s, the focus of Toronto's gay subculture was the Yonge and Wellesley area. The most notable bars for the gay culture were the Parkside Tavern and the St. Charles Tavern on Yonge Street, just south of Wellesley, is where we're standing. That clock tower is behind us right now, and interestingly enough, it also was a fire hall prior to that. During the 70s, the St. Charles in particular, it was the focus of many attacks by homophobes, especially on Halloween. The tavern, they held their annual drag contest, and what the community had to endure was people hurling eggs and rotten fruit at the participants. Because of this, the Church Street is still closed on Halloween, and throngs of people, they come dressed and they walk the street. Church Street had been a depressed area with low rents, and it started to become predominantly gay as gay-owned bars and other businesses started opening up. As an alternative to the straight-owned Parkside and St. Charles taverns, whose owners, they were kind of accused of being hostile to their gay clientele, the area became known as a friendly environment where people could be open about their sexual orientation. Things in the village, it came to a head in February of 1981, when patrons of 4 bathhouses in downtown Toronto were surprised by 200 police officers in a series of raids called Operation Soap. This building behind me here, it was one of the bathhouses that was raided. And the bathhouse patrons, they were subject to excessive abuse by police, both verbal and physical. When the night was over, nearly 300 men were charged. It was up to that time the single largest arrest in Toronto's history. And most of these arrested, they were found innocent. The raids, they marked a turning point in Toronto's gay community. As the protests that followed, they indicated they would no longer endure derogatory treatment from the police, media, and the public. All right, let's go grab some lunch. Som Tum Jinda, Thai food. Let's check it out. Okay, we're here at Som Tum Jinda, Thai food. I've tried everything actually, and this is actually really good. Like a crispy rice, there's a salad, there's grilled chicken. I'd recommend this. I'll tell you honestly though, the only frustration was the menu. If you don't know what you want, they don't have a paper menu, you have to look at it on your phone, and it's a little bit complicated. So try and find out what you're looking for here before you order it. But delicious, I would recommend it. I'll give it 2 thumbs. So in the mid-70s, the 519 Church Street Community Center became a meeting place for numerous social and political groups. And it became a well-known queer-friendly space. The 519 continues to be the center of the neighborhood today and a popular meeting place and advocate for the queer community. As times have changed, Toronto's become more accepting, and the role of Church in Wellesley as a sanctuary for LGBTQ people has been diminished, and many bars and clubs outside the village are now gay-friendly. Rental rates also for both commercial and residential property have also risen significantly. In the 2000s, many privately owned businesses were forced to close down and move to other areas due to these rent increases. Larger corporations, Starbucks, Loblaws, Subway, BMO, they've all settled in the street in their place. The residents of the area today, they're largely middle-aged men with established careers, but the high rent and increasing density and condo development, that means the majority of the gay youth, they can't afford to live in the neighborhood. Some choose to settle in other neighborhoods, St. Jamestown, Cabbagetown, but others, they don't feel it necessary to live in the neighborhood at all, as they can be open about their sexuality without fear of backlash. Many in the gay community, they have expressed concern about the decline in the neighborhood's appeal with the youth, and also the loss of the independent small businesses. Hopefully the village, it will remain as both it's an historic and interesting piece of Toronto's history. So prices. Freeholds, I actually went back a year and a half. There's very, very few. In the boundaries I gave you, there were 4 row houses that sold, and they sold anywhere from $1.5 to $2 million. So if you're looking for a freehold, this really isn't the neighborhood. Condos, though, we have plenty. Studios, high 4s to 600, 1 bedrooms, 500 to 7.25, 1+1s, 600 to 850, again, depending on size. 2 bedrooms, low 600s for a small 2-bedroom, and up to $2 million for some of the larger ones. And condo towns, they have them here too. Some of the small ones, 650, but again, the majority are about $1 million to $2 million. Anyhow, I love doing these videos. Like, share, and we'll talk soon.